discuss. Right now, I want to call on Larry Rudner to share some very, very important words with all of us about our synagogue and about our place and role in it.
Why are we here today? I believe that on some level, we want to know and to affirm that we are all part of something larger than ourselves. Exactly what that something may be is different for each of us. We may be seeking a sense of spiritual connection to God or to an enduring sense of peace. We may wish to affirm a connection to Valley Outreach Synagogue. We may seek a reminder that we are part of an entire Jewish people all over the world gathered at this time. It is different for all of us. For me, it's being able to pray together with all of you, listen to the beautiful music, and get a feeling that is hard for me to describe, but I know I need it. We are all part of the Valley Outreach Synagogue community, and the Valley Outreach Synagogue community, that part is the one that we make. We act with our presence, our compassion, and our love of Judaism and V.O.S. Today, I'm asking that financial support of the synagogue be part of your action. There may be some of you who think because we don't have a building that our expenses can't be that high. However, that's not true. We have employees and rent to pay and costs related to our services at the Hilton and Shepherd. Our expenses increase every year, like all of ours. For years, Valley Outreach Synagogue has relied on membership dues and some fundraising and donations to meet our expenses. Currently, these only meet part of our expenses. We still retain the same precepts that we were founded upon, and that is that we all worship together, no matter what our religious backgrounds, and no one is turned away from membership for financial reasons. In the last few years, we have seen significant rise in the number of congregants who have asked for help with their dues. Our congregation has an obligation to help these members, and this is an affirmation that we need one another. We are part of each other, and we cannot leave anyone behind. In order for V.O.S. to remain viable, it must continually attract new membership of all ages and create new programming that is relevant to all age groups. We want to provide more outreach and community service programs and collaborate with other Jewish organizations in an effort to make a difference for our community, for Israel, and other Jewish causes. 6 years ago, before we asked then Cantor Li-Paz to become our spiritual leader, we had a congregation of 300 member families representing about 500 people. We also had a Cantor and a rabbi. Today, we only have a rabbi. We have a membership of over 600 families representing about 1,500 people. We have more than doubled the number of families, but have tripled the number of people because now we have many more families with children. Rabbi Li-Paz currently serves the needs of our families by officiating at all Shabbat and high holiday services and life cycle events, counseling, and visiting our congregants in the hospital. He continuously interfaces with leaders in the Jewish community to build our synagogue from within, as well as to create connections and to have a strong impact locally and worldwide. One person cannot possibly expect it to continue to meet all the needs of our congregation. We cannot let this situation continue. 6 years ago, we had no religious school, and today we have a Jules program with 150 kids enrolled. We have been fortunate, due to some generous congregants, to be able to offer some tuition scholarships to families who otherwise would not have been able to have their child receive a Jewish education. I want you to think seriously about what Valley Outreach Synagogues means to you and your family. I am standing before you this morning asking for your financial support. I understand the financial stress that many of us feel, believe me. I ask for your faith in our V.O.S. community and your faith that what we accomplish here is important and potentially much greater than all of us. It was a very difficult decision to make a plea for financial support at high holiday services, something our synagogue has never done before, and for many, something they appreciated about Valley Outreach Synagogue. It is my job as president and the job of the Finance Committee to make sure that we are able to meet the needs of our families adequately and to continue to stay vibrant and relevant. We worry about finances and our budget deficit. I took on the role of asking for your financial commitment to our synagogue because I believe that we are doing something important and are on the verge of doing much more. Please remember that you are allowing our community to continue, you are allowing Judaism to thrive, and you are doing a mitzvah for yourself and your family. It might be easy for some of you to ignore our appeal today and walk out of the sanctuary thinking that someone else will donate the money. Think of this gift of community that we have experienced these last 10 days, and let's make sure that our children and grandchildren can receive the same gift. Thank you for your continuing support, and may the coming year bring you and your family health, happiness, and a greater sense of community. Gamar Shatuma Tova.
I spoke with a colleague of mine who just raised $120 million for his synagogue because they restored the dome at Wilshire Boulevard Temple. And I asked him, so how do you do that? He said, it's quite simple. He said, I have to be willing to represent what I believe, speak to people. Whether it's a lunch or a service or a meeting or an encounter with a congregant or somebody who cares about the Jewish future, he said, what I tell them is what I do. I build Jews. That's what we're doing as a community. That's what they're doing, and that's the business that we're in. Building Jewish futures, Jewish lives, Jewish legacies. Giving interfaith families a chance to experience something beautiful that's Jewish. Giving grandparents the chance to see their grandchildren thriving in Jewish values and morality and environment. I look at our world today and I realize that the most challenging problems of our lives and of this generation, I believe, are moral problems. Not political. Politicians won't be able to solve them. We have to solve them ourselves. And I think that's a credit to all of you who come here to realize the morality of the choices that we make in our lives, the importance of choice and faith, the importance of community, the value of stopping to think about who we are and what we want to be, to differentiate something challenging, the difference between net worth, which is what we do out there, and self-worth, which is what we do in here. On a personal note, I want to echo something that Larry said. I work 7 days a week, though some of you see me once a year. Some of you see me once a month and think that my task in leading the synagogue is monthly. But it's sometimes 2 in the morning when I get an emergency phone call because somebody's on the brink of disaster. And sometimes it's 3 funerals in a day, and 2 of them are for teenagers dealing with addiction and challenges. I'm not saying this to over-dramatize, but to open a window into what the experience of being the rabbi of a congregation is. Not only the emotional task, but the time of task. Someone said to me at the beginning of last night's service, remember, your family has to come first, and then us. And I agree with that sentiment, but as a rabbi of a congregation that I love and care about and have commitment to and obligation to, it's very difficult to make those choices. It's very difficult sometimes to place my family first when your family is in need. And so what I ask you to do is to consider these thoughts when you make a donation. To consider not that you're giving money to me, because that's not my task or my ask. Instead, that you can place beside me a colleague who can help care for your needs in simchas and in sorrows. Someone who can help our kids, someone who can do Shiva Minyan so that I can be in 3 and not 4 places at once. Someone who can allow me sometimes to have Shabbat morning and Shabbat afternoon with my kids and with my wife before they leave home for college and the future of their lives. So I ask this embarrassedly because I'm making a personal plea to people whom I care about and honor and respect and love. But I hope that you'll appreciate it with its humility and with its truth, that we need help, and I need help, because while the synagogue has grown, I haven't. I've only aged. There are some people who can give $40 or $18 or $100, and some people, for them, $40,000, $1,800 is the same number. So what I ask you to do is to stretch, because this holiday and this tradition is about stretching, to stretch to do something valuable, something important, something truly of worth for this community and for all that we serve. Thank you. We'll see you in the afternoon.